Hey bottom pushers, my name is Nick and welcome to Chicken Police.
Painted red, painted red, painted red.
This was developed by the Wild Gentlemen and they were kind enough to send me a code for the game, so mwah, kisses. So this is a point and click noir style investigative detection game. But before I can tell you what Chicken Police is all about, we need to wind the clock back a little bit. And I need to tell you about the Chicken Squad. So the Chicken Squad is made up of Sonny and Marty, two detectives that are part of the predatory department of the Cruelville Police Department. They were partners, and they gained a reputation for being somewhat reckless and, entertaining as a result. They gained kind of fame and infamy, and their legend, the legend of the Chicken Squad, grew until one day something happened between them, and it's not actually ever established what, but Marty shot Sonny and kind of left him to bleed out. Sonny didn't die, obviously, because that's who you play as, but obviously that's the kind of thing that breaks a partnership apart. So they're no longer partners. Sonny is 121 days from retirement, is currently suspended from the police force, and he's basically not living his best life. However, fast forward to present day. I'm not sure how much time there is between, but we're now in present day.
We're living in a vast experiment and don't even notice that everything got clucked up a long time ago. We believe in this wonderland of peaceful coexistence. Wolves and sheep, chickens and hounds. Yeah, sure, why not? It's just ridiculous. The dog eats the chicken. It's in our nature. I'm not propping up the illusion anymore. 121 days, and it's over. Retirement. What could possibly go wrong?
Sonny goes back home to his apartment, which is also his office, and there is a mystery lady. Well, I'm not really too sure how it works in this game, because it's human bodies with animal heads. Either way, they're called Deborah, and they have been sent there by their boss Natasha to recruit Sonny to help her get to the bottom of an issue she's having. So somebody's sending her threats and recently threw a brick through a window. The kink in this is that she doesn't want to go to the police because, one, there's not really anything they'd be able to do about it. Two, her boyfriend is Ivan, who is, a rat, a literal actual rat, but he is also a gangster that pretty much runs the entire town, so don't really want to have too much involvement with the police on that front. So Sonny begrudgingly accepts and decides he can't do it himself, so swings by the police station to have a little chat with his old buddy Marty to talk about having backup one last time. It's a quick investigation, just in case he needs him, bury the hatchet, one more mission together, and simple. Be done by the end of the evening. Nope. They stumble into something huge that takes them to all manner of shady places. So from a nightclub, which is 100% some sort of front, through to a brothel that's run by a crocodile who used to be a spy for the king, so, good, to a shady back alley doctor, all the way through to an insane asylum. It's a crazy couple of days. But everyone you meet along the way everyone is basically a different animal, which is really cool. You have to meet all these new people, talk to them, try and build up the story, and try and get to the bottom of exactly what the hell is going on, because you end up in the middle of something way bigger than what you were actually hired for. Am I going to tell you what that thing is? No, because they would be spoilers. But it's a doozy.
I think I was dreaming. But it wasn't the kind of dream you'd want to remember. Dark and painful. Then the suffocating smoke woke me. It wasn't fried eggs, that's for sure.
So, obviously, you are, at heart, in your little chicken heart, you are a detective. So there's a few things that a detective will always have to do. The main thing is talk to people. well, one of the main things is talk to people. And that's what you'll end up doing a lot in the game. But it's all voice acted. And all of the voice acting is done so well. Like every single character, and there's loads of characters you can speak to, and there's loads of lines of dialogue, and every single one of them is voiced to perfection. There wasn't a single point while I was playing through that I thought, someone's half-assed that. No, everyone's done a real good job. So props to the voice acting team for that. And also to the people who wrote the script, because the script is phenomenal. So, sorry, digressed. You have to go around and talk to people in whatever area you've found yourself in at that given time. If there's somebody who you can get more information out of, then you will get the option to ask them specific questions. So these can either be questions based on information you have already, and you just need more information, or information that's brand new that they will give to you. So it works both ways. If there's someone real special, then you'll get the option to question them, and you get to flex your little detective chicken muscles. So this is quite an interesting dynamic, the way this works. So you've got a few things on the screen while you're questioning. You've got a box on the side that kind of gives a breakdown of who that person is, their characteristics, so whether they're like shy, aggressive, cocky, deceitful, mistrusting, all sorts of stuff, as well as like a little bio to kind of help you figure stuff out. But then on the other side of the screen, you've got kind of a multiple choice. So you need to look at them and their temperament, and look at the answers or the potential questions you can ask them, and pick the right one. If you pick the right one, you're going to progress the investigation. There's a little bar, the detectometer, which is not what it's called, it's just what I've taken to calling it. If you make a good choice, then you'll get more points to push that bar up. If you ask the wrong question, it will go down a little bit. If you ask a really bad question, it will shoot down a lot. And there's a certain threshold you need to get the gauge over for it to count as a successful questioning, and then you get ranked out of 5 stars based on how well you did at the end. I don't know what happens if you fail the investigations, because I really ballsed up on some of them but didn't fail, so I think it's quite hard to fail them, which is, a comfort. The other part of your job is actual investigating areas. So there'll be some areas you go to where there's nobody to actually speak to. You just literally have to look around and try and find things that are going to further your investigation, and that's where the point and click element comes into it. There's also a few puzzles thrown into the mix as well, which is good. That is good to have that, but they're brutal with their puzzles. The first one is more so than the second one, but it's like, okay, here's a puzzle, figure it out. No sort of hints, no sort of... Well, there is a hint, but it's the vaguest hint in the world. But yeah, so there's no hand-holding as far as the puzzles are concerned, but there's only a couple of them in the game, which is a good and a bad thing in equal measure. So, you've spoken to people, you've gathered up all the physical evidence that you need, so come the end of the chapter, so in chapters 1, 2 and 3, you have to investigate. And this is, again, very different. So it lays out all of the information you've gathered in front of you and gives you certain boxes that you need to fill. So there's a suspect box, an evidence box, and a kind of motive box. And you have to drag the correct thing on there. And then once you've correctly filled in the boxes, you have to kind of map them together. And when you do that, you'll be given a few options as to why they're connected. And that which is cool, but you can't possibly do this wrong, because if you try and put the wrong thing in the wrong box, it will just say, meh, try again. There's no penalty for getting it wrong, which is kind of a bit like, okay, but it is also kind of beneficial, because especially I think it was the first investigation, I needed 2 suspects, and the second one, once I put them in and worked out a bit more of the information, it actually made sense, but I had no reason to put them in the investigation box to begin with, so it was a bit weird. But apart from that, it worked beautifully. There's not side missions as such with this, but there's kind of side information gathering is probably the best way of putting it. So you've got the map that you can bring up at any time you're not talking to somebody, and there'll be 2 different types of icons on the map. There'll be either the icon to show where you need to go to progress the story, and there'll be areas that have an hourglass on them. So the hourglass means that they're temporary locations, so it means they are available to you now if you progress the story, they're going to shut down. They won't be available to you. And each of the temporary locations, they all have people you can speak to. So sometimes you will get things that will kind of give you a bit more information about the story, but 9 times out of 10 it's going to give you a bit more kind of background information on the world, which is significant, by the way. They've put a lot of time and effort into actually crafting this world. It's really impressive how much effort they've put into this. That kind of blew my mind a little bit. But yeah, so if you want to go for being an absolute completionist, then there's plenty there to keep you busy. And I think I clocked in just over 8 hours start to finish, and I did miss some things, not because I was deliberately skipping them, just because I forgot to check if there were temporary locations sometimes. So yeah, there's a lot of gameplay. You could probably blitz through it quicker than 8 hours, but again, if you took your time, then you could easily get 10 hours gameplay out of this, which is very cool. So, as is review tradition for this channel, I am going to have 3 good things, 3 bad things. So, 3 good things. Number 1, the game looks absolutely phenomenal. So there's an irony to the fact that the selling point of the city is that it's a vibrant city, but everything's in black and white. And it doesn't seem to be like for effect either. Like, there's a few different characters mention how grey everything is. So I like that. I love the design. I love the noir style. The character design shouldn't work. It should be 100% nightmare fuel, because it's just human bodies with animal heads plonked on top. And the vast array of different characters is just phenomenal. But number 2, the scripting and the voice acting are just so good. So good. It's so well written. I kind of went into this thinking, oh, it's going to be a game about chickens. It's going to be stupid. It's not. It's really not. Like, there are stupid moments, but there's actual, like, real thought that's been put into the characters and the character development and the character relationships, and it really works and it really pays off. And number 3 is the story. The story is incredible. As I say, I didn't know what to expect going into it, and kind of started off as like, okay, just a basic investigation, but the escalation through the story, and it's great. I was, for the whole 8 hours I was playing it, I was captivated. I wanted to see how it was going to go, and there was a penny drop moment like towards the end. I was like, oh yes, and I got really excited about getting to the end, which is the mark of a great story. So the bad stuff, it could have done with more puzzles. The 2 that were in there were good. There were a few little, like, not quick time events, but a few little, like, other random things you had to do as well. But I think for the duration of the game, having more puzzles in there definitely wouldn't have been a bad thing. So, number 2, it was a tad too vague at times. So, I've said about the puzzles already, but even that, in between, like, different sections of the level, there were certain things you had to do, but it wasn't clear what you had to do. Like, I'm fine with, like, it not holding your hands and guiding you through what you need to do, but there was just no indication at all about what you needed to do, which kind of left me clicking about, not really too sure what to do, which really kind of disrupts the momentum of the story. And finally, and this is kind of more of a bugbear than anything else, with your diary, when you talk to people, you gain information about them, you start building up the personal profiles, learn more about the world, get more clues, and it flashes up to say what it is you've got at that time, and then it will give like a number notification on the icon on the screen. But once you click into it and it expands, there's nowhere on the actual diary itself that's highlighted where the information is. So if you've been paying too much attention to the actual conversation and not seen specifically what that information was, then it kind of means you've got to click around a bit to find it, which is a bit of a pain. It's a small thing, but it irked me a little bit. So, if you are a fan of detective games, point-and-click games, chickens, animals in general, then there's almost certainly something here that you're going to like. So I would recommend this highly. And it's available now on everything. So I'm playing the PC version. All of the footage behind me is from the PC version. It's also available Switch, PS4 and Xbox. So, if you do want to check this out for yourself, then the link to the Steam page is in the description, but as I said literally just a second ago, it's available everywhere. So, wherever you purchase games, you can get it there. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, then why don't you go ahead and the like button, the weirdly sexual animal-human hybrid that is the subscribe button. Make sure you that bad boy. And until next time, love you, bye.